Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 316.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about 10 billionaires that used to be poor. I think it's really interesting to study billionaires and what it is that makes them financially successful. So if we can talk about 10 that came from absolute poverty, people like Oprah Winfrey and others who I'm sure you'll recognize and some you might not recognize, but if we can talk about who those people are and maybe glean a few little things that we can put into practice in our life, wouldn't that be exciting to see what happens? Just like Tony Robbins always says, I believe success leaves clues. So those clues are being left by these billionaires, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, if you're a new listener, please hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified of all new podcasts as soon as they're uploaded. This episode is sponsored by Audible. It's the way I read more books and stay ahead of the curve. Audible is, of course, the easiest way to read books because all you have to do is just listen, like you are right now. There are over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player, and your first audiobook is free. Just visit audibletrial.com/be wealthy and smart. That's audibletrial, audibletrial.com/be wealthy and smart. So here is the article about 10 billionaires who grew up poor. This is by Laura Woods from Go Banking Rates. And it says, you don't have to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth to achieve great things in life, though it certainly helps. Still, many of today's billionaires had very humble beginnings. Growing up poor didn't stop these CEOs, celebrities, and business experts from reaching the pinnacle of success, and it shouldn't stop you either. Whether you're in need of some inspiration to start your own business or you want to learn how to become a billionaire, take a look at how these famous folks made it to the top. Of course, number one is Oprah Winfrey. Family wealth isn't the secret to this billionaire and media maven's unparalleled success. Now worth an estimated $3.1 billion, according to Forbes, Oprah Winfrey was born to a teenage single mother in Mississippi. In an interview with Barbara Walters, she talked about not having running water or electricity growing up. By focusing on school, participating in beauty pageants, and then working at a radio station, Winfrey was able to enter the media world. She got her big break in television as a host for the local Baltimore talk show People Are Talking, and later came The Oprah Winfrey Show, which entered national syndication in 1986. In a 2001 taping of The Oprah Winfrey Show, she shared some tips on making the shift to a wealth mindset. Hey, let me just stop right there. Look, they're talking about a wealth mindset. And what do I always say step one to wealth is? A wealth mindset. Okay, I'm vindicated. The article goes on to say, quote, the whole idea, I think, of having wealth is not letting wealth use you, but you use it, she said. Being a person who has come from an outhouse and very poor circumstances, I can assure you that the more money you get, it really doesn't change you, unless you are the kind of person who is defined by money. Well said, Oprah, and we are so proud of you for coming from absolutely nothing and making it on your own to become one of the rare women billionaires. Number two is Howard Schultz, chairman and CEO of Starbucks. Howard Schultz helped Starbucks become the company it is today, a giant coffee retailer with 23,000 retail stores in 73 countries and a market value of about $85 billion, according to Forbes. However, this successful businessman who boasts a net worth of $2.9 billion wasn't born into wealth. In an interview with Dr. Mukund Rajan of the Group Executive Council, Schultz discussed his childhood and what it was like growing up with less. He says, quote, "When I was 7 years old, I experienced something that deeply affected me that I carry with me every single day," he said, "and that is the scar and the shame of being a poor kid living in government-subsidized housing." Schultz said his father became a broken man after working in many dead-end jobs that offered neither money nor respect. But this hardship seemed to motivate Schultz to become the success he is today. Quote, "I never dreamed I would be in a position one day to be part of a company where I would have authority, let alone build a company. What I've tried to do is build the kind of company that my father never got a chance to work for." Our third billionaire is Ralph Lauren. Known for its polo shirts and high-end ties, the Ralph Lauren fashion brand is easily recognizable. But did you know that there was a time when the iconic fashion designer couldn't even afford clothes? Quote, "As a kid, I was always into clothes, but I didn't have the money to buy them. When I'd get my brother's hand-me-downs, there was an energy in me that made me say, I want to get my own things, to make my own statement." Somewhere along the line, that energy, coupled with my exposure through movies to a world I hadn't known, turned into something. That something is now a fashion brand with a market value of nearly $8 billion, according to Forbes. As for Lauren, he is worth a cool $5.9 billion and is considered one of the richest fashion icons. And all those polo shirts he has floating around are a good testament to his brand. Number 4 is Larry Ellison. Oracle founder and former CEO Larry Ellison was born in New York City, but grew up in a lower middle-class community on the south side of Chicago. "I'll never complain again about living in a bad neighborhood after moving from the Lower East Side of Manhattan to a still worse neighborhood on the south side of Chicago," Ellison said. "After my 9th month, I kept my mouth shut about the neighborhood." A 1997 Vanity Fair profile on Ellison described his childhood home as a cramped, walked-up apartment. According to the article, Ellison was raised by his great-aunt and great-uncle, who was once successful in real estate but lost everything in the Depression. Although he came from modest beginnings, Ellison is now a multi-billionaire worth $61.8 billion, and Oracle has a market value of almost $183 billion, reports Forbes. Quote, "Everyone who works hard, and maybe a little cleverly, has the opportunity to make almost anything possible," said Ellison in the Academy of Achievement interview. "That's the American dream, that anything here is possible." Ellison might be a college dropout, but like many billionaires, he has career advice to share. The 5th billionaire is Kenneth Langone. Self-made billionaire businessman and investor Kenneth Langone, who helped create Home Depot, had humble beginnings. In a 2013 interview with One Wire posted on Business Insider, Langone said he had a charmed life as a child, but not because of his material possessions. In fact, his mother was a cafeteria worker. Still, Langone enjoyed unconditional love, which later helped him get over his failures and not let them bring him down. Quote, "When you're in the risk-taking business at the level that I am, not everything you're going to do is going to work," he said. "Where you really lose is when it doesn't work and you start being abusive to yourself in terms of your qualities and your abilities." Today, Langone has a net worth of $3 billion, according to Forbes, and he's proud of that fact, he said in an interview for Street Smart on Bloomberg. Quote, "I worked like hell to become part of the 1%. Number 6, Sheldon Adelson. Sheldon Adelson is the chairman and CEO of Las Vegas Sands, the largest casino company in America, but he had to earn his $35.2 billion fortune the old-fashioned way. Born to Eastern European Jewish immigrants, he grew up in a tough neighborhood of Boston, sharing a one-room tenement with his parents and 3 siblings. In a 2010 Nightline interview, Adelson explained how his rough upbringing helped him become a shrewd businessman. Quote, "My parents were poor. When they died in 1985, 11 days apart, they didn't have as much as $100 in the bank their whole life. They gave everything to their children. So I'm talking not from a white shoe background or from a privileged background. I'm talking as somebody who wore his skin down on his fingers trying to climb the ladder of success. To honor his heritage, he has donated more than $50 million to Jewish schools in the Las Vegas and Boston areas and another $50 million to the Yad Vashem World Holocaust Remembrance Center, according to the New York Times. Our 7th billionaire is Alan Geary. While he has a net worth of $1.4 billion today, Alan Geary grew up in Liberty, New York during the Depression. A frozen food distributor, Gary's father often struggled to feed the family on his salary. Geary later dropped out of high school to serve in the Marines during World War II. He used his GI Bill benefits to become trained in television repair, and in 1956, he invested $1,500 to start a cable company in his hometown. Decades later, his business evolved into 64 cable systems in 18 states. He sold the company to Time Warner in 1996 for a reported $2.7 billion, including $900 million in personal profit. Gary used the money to start his venture capital fund, Granite Associates, and has continued to give back to the community where he was raised, including building the Bethel Woods Center for the Arts. Quote, you grow up in a country and see that now so much has evaporated around you, so you try to keep your eyes open and see what needs help. Number 8 is John Paul DeJoria. Founding high-end tequila company Patron Spirits Company and hair care company Paul Mitchell Systems turned John Paul DeJoria into a mogul with a net worth of $3.3 billion. In a 2011 interview with Forbes, DeJoria, who was once in foster care, discussed growing up poor in the Echo Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. Quote, we didn't know that we were really poor going through tough times because everybody was going through the same thing, he said. I remember once in junior high school on a Friday, my mom came home from work and said to my brother and I, you know, between us, we have only 27 cents, but we have food in the refrigerator, we have our little garden out back, and we are happy, so we are rich. A true rags to riches story, he was homeless twice before joining forces with Paul Mitchell in 1980 to create a billion-dollar hair care brand. He now uses his fortune to give back and was even named Variety's 2017 Philanthropist of the Year. Our 9th billionaire is Harold Hamm. The youngest of 13 kids, Harold Hamm was raised by Oklahoma sharecroppers who put him to work picking cotton barefoot as a child. The founder, chairman, and CEO of oil company Continental Resources now has a net worth of $10.1 billion, but at age 16 he had to take a job at a gas station to support his loved ones. Despite his family's financial struggles, in a 2014 interview with Forbes, Hamm revealed that he drew inspiration from fellow Enid, Oklahoma residents. One was a local potter who spoke to Hamm and his classmates at a school assembly. Quote, he had this lump of clay that he was slapping like a baby, Hamm said. It was clear that he did well because that was his passion, his art, and the message was that all of us could do well if we followed our passion in life. And finally, number 10 is J.K. Rowling. In a 2013 interview with the London-based Daily Mail, J.K. Rowling shared her struggles as a single parent before the Harry Potter books turned her into the world's highest-paid author. Quote, I remember 20 years ago not eating so my daughter would eat, she said. I remember nights where there was literally no money. Those days are long past, as the author earned $95 million between June 2016 and June 2017, according to Forbes. Now a philanthropist, Rowling enjoys giving back so much that an estimated $160 million in charitable giving contributed to her fall from billionaire status in 2012. Today, Rowling's fortune is back up to $1 billion, according to Celebrity Net Worth. I will post this article in the show notes and also on my website, but I think it's just fun to review some of the things that these billionaires had to say. We saw some themes repeated time and again, where it was mindset, it was hard work, it was following your passion, it was persistence. Lots of good qualities that billionaires shared with us, but mostly they just hung in there and stuck with it and didn't give up. And I think there's much to be said for persistence being the way to achieve your dreams. Hey, have you heard I'm having a summer giveaway through the end of September? You could win 6 awesome prizes. And we're down to the final few weeks where you could win Wealthy Mindset Blueprint audio courses where you learn how millionaires think the right thoughts before wealth happens. And that's valued at $197 each. Or my Wealth Journal, where you learn the 6 steps to wealth and have the Wealth Mini Course valued at $67. All you need to do is leave a Be Wealthy and Smart podcast review on iTunes, or if you're on Android, at Stitcher Radio, STITCHER radio.com. Like my Facebook fan page at facebook.com/Linda P. Jones fan page, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Linda P. Jones. Then let me know you did it by emailing me at lpjhome@gmail.com. All names will be dropped in a hat, and a drawing will be done in early October for winner. And if you're ready to get your net worth moving in the right direction, get my 11 quick financial tips to boost your wealth. There are 11 quick tips anyone can do to get to financial freedom faster. That's at lindapjones.com. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.